I spent $9,900 on a dream trip to Japan for my dad's 65th birthday. Months of planning. Then came the message, we gave your spot to Brian's girlfriend. She's more fun. No apology. No warning. I replied with one word, noted. That night, I cancelled everything, flights, hotels, every detail. When they got back, they found new locks, rent tripled, and their credit cards declined at the local cafe. And that was just the beginning. I remember staring at my phone, watching those little blinking dots, like the message wasn't finished, like it had more hurt lined up. The kind of dots that taunt you. It was from my mom. Casual. Breezy. Like she hadn't just trashed 3 months of my hard work and burned through nearly 10 grand of my money. Just, we gave your spot to Brian's girlfriend. Followed by, she's more fun. No sorry. No why. Just a smug slap in text form. I didn't waste words. I hit back with, got it. Then I did what they never saw coming. I nuked the trip. Every last piece. Didn't care that it was non-refundable. I'd planned it, so I destroyed it. And later that night, I changed the locks on the family home. Technically, the house was mine anyway. Had been for years. They'd been living there rent-free while I picked up the slack and they chuckled behind my back. But now? Now it was my turn to laugh. But let me back it up for you. Let me explain how I ended up being the guy who could cancel a dream vacation, triple the rent on my own parents, and cut my golden boy brother out of my life like a tumor that should have been removed years ago. It all began with one stupid, well-meaning decision, to try and be the good son. Dad was hitting 65. Big milestone. I figured, why not do something amazing? A family trip to Japan sounded perfect. He'd always talked about seeing Kyoto's cherry blossoms before his knees gave out, and Mom. She treated sushi like it was some holy ritual. Even Brian, my younger brother, said he'd always dreamed of slurping real ramen in Tokyo, not the 50-cent packets we lived on in college. So I did the thing everyone warned me not to do, I footed the bill. Every cent, nearly $9,900. I covered flights, hotels, bullet train passes. I even made restaurant reservations. Coordinated everything between crushing work deadlines. Spent my weekends figuring out which hotels were close to the best shrines and shops. I even upgraded their flights to premium economy. Me. I booked myself the cheapest seat on the plane and a tiny room in Osaka. Because in my head, that's what love looked like, sacrifice. But Brian has this way of always putting me back in my place. I'm not the favorite. I'm not the fun one. I'm just the wallet with legs. So when that message popped up, we gave your spot to Brian's girlfriend. She's more fun, I didn't feel surprised. I felt clear. And that kind of clarity. It's lethal when someone's been used one too many times. They always assumed I'd keep my mouth shut. That I'd keep giving. They never expected me to hit back. It all started with guilt. That's how they rope you in. Not with love. Not with duty. With guilt. My parents never outright asked me for money. Oh no, they had their own way. Brian's really trying, you know. It's hard for kids these days. You're lucky to have such a steady job, not everyone's that fortunate. We're so proud of you. Just wish Brian had your work ethic. So yeah, at first, I helped because I wanted to. Brian was my little brother. I thought covering his tuition and books, getting him a new laptop before finals, that was what big brothers do. But pretty quickly, help turned into expectation. 3 months after graduating, he hadn't even sent out a resume. He was still figuring things out, he said, while playing FIFA on my couch, all day, every day. I'd come home from working 12 hours to find him eating takeout I paid for, feet on my coffee table, in a house I owned. And Mom would just say, "He needs space. Don't stress him." Dad wouldn't even look up from his iPad. "Let the boy breathe," he'd grumble, like I was the problem. Then Brian brought home a girlfriend, and that's when things got really bad. Sienna, Cece, as she insisted, moved in just 2 months into their whirlwind romance. No one asked. No rent, no discussion. She was just there. She took over my kitchen, binged my Netflix, maxed out my Wi-Fi. One night I caught her slipping into my dress shoes for some dumb TikTok sketch. "It's a character," she giggled, winking. "Don't be weird." Brian thought it was hilarious. "Dude, relax. She's funny." That word stuck in my head, funny. Like a curse. Still, I kept quiet. Kept paying. Because family. Because I didn't want to start a fight in front of Dad. Because, you make more than enough, right? When Brian lost the job I helped him get, because he was late 3 times in week 1, I covered his car payments to protect his credit. When Sienna wrecked her beat-up sedan, I co-signed for a used Mazda. In my name. Yeah. I know. Stupid. And when they both said they wanted in on the Japan trip for Dad's birthday, I adjusted everything, rebooked rooms, juggled my vacation days. I bent over backward to make it work. And how did they thank me? "We gave your spot to Brian's girlfriend. She's more fun." That wasn't just a throwaway jab, it hit deeper. It was like a switch flipped, confirming something I'd always quietly believed: in my family's eyes, I wasn't the fun one. I wasn't loved. I wasn't respected. I was just useful. A walking credit card. A warm body with a wallet. And the worst part? I'd allowed it. I'd stood by and let them treat me that way. But that wasn't the end. Not even close. The day after they touched down in Tokyo, I got a text from Brian. "Yo, can you wire us some spending cash? Cece forgot her card, and Dad says the exchange rates suck." I didn't respond. An hour later, another message popped up. "Come on, man. Don't be bitter. This trip's about Dad, not you." I almost hurled my phone across the room. They'd already taken my spot, hijacked my vacation, stolen my moment, and now they had the nerve to ask for more. But I didn't say anything. I let them have their fun. Let them post those fake happy reels online, showing off some perfect family trip, while I sat alone in a silent house, simmering with a rage I didn't even know how to name. Then, on day 5 of their trip, the hotel called. "Mr. Callahan, we're reaching out because the card on file for your group's reservation has been declined." And then came the kicker. There also seems to be a discrepancy. An unauthorized guest was added to the suite. And just like that, the truth clicked into place. They had swapped me out for Sienna without even notifying the hotel. Used my card to cover her part. Figured I'd never catch on. That was the moment. Not the insult. Not the stolen money. Not even being cut from my own father's 65th birthday celebration. It was the quiet assumption that I'd accept it. That I'd keep taking it. So I logged into my account. Marked the charges as fraudulent. Shut the card down. Then I picked up the phone and called the hotel back. Cancel the reservation. Remove every guest. If anyone tries to argue or stay, alert security. They're not authorized. There was a pause on the other end. "Sir, they're still in the room." "I know," I said calmly. "They can figure it out from there." The day they returned home, everything was different. I was standing in the kitchen when I heard car doors slam shut outside. Voices followed. Loud. Frantic. Mom's high-pitched whining. Brian shouting. Sienna screaming louder than both of them. I didn't rush. I stirred my coffee like it was any other morning. Then came the banging. Boom. 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 Brian's voice roared through the door. Open up. We know you're in there. I walked to the front, still holding my coffee. Peeked through the peephole. There they were, all three of them. Faces flushed, clothes wrinkled, hair a mess. Their bags dumped all over the porch. For some reason, Sienna wasn't wearing shoes. I undid the deadbolt and cracked the door just enough to meet their eyes. What happened to our keys? Brian snapped. I took a sip. Oh, you mean the ones I had changed? Yeah, those won't work anymore. He lost it. You're kidding me, right? I shook my head slowly. Nope. Dead serious. Mom tried to barge in. We just got off a 14-hour flight. We're tired. We're starving. You're trespassing, I said, still calm. This is private property. You can't be serious, Sienna jumped in, her tone cutting and sarcastic. You're seriously locking out your own family? I looked her right in the eyes. Held the stare for a moment. Then said it flatly. You're not my family. Her jaw fell open. Brian stared like I just slapped him. Dude, wow. That's cold. We were stranded in Osaka, he went on, with no cash, no place to stay, no Wi-Fi. You have any idea how that felt? I shrugged. Sounds rough. Imagine being stuck overseas, on someone else's dime. Oh wait, that's exactly what you did. Brian's face went beet red. You embarrassed us, he shouted. You shut down everything. We couldn't even get a cab to the airport. They froze the carts. They froze everything. I crossed my arms. Well, yeah. That's kind of what happens when you commit credit card fraud. Mom let out a dramatic gasp. Fraud? Oh come on, don't exaggerate. I held up my phone. The screen glowed with a paused screenshot from the hotel manager's email. Unauthorized guest. Charges disputed, I read aloud. Then turned to Brian. Tell me, did you or did you not use my name to add Sienna to the reservation? He opened his mouth to answer, but nothing came out. Instead, he turned to Sienna. She just gave a half-hearted shrug. I stepped aside, letting them look into the house. Not that there was much left to see. The couch? Gone. Dining table? Also gone. All the furniture they used to lounge around on like it was theirs. Donated. Gone. I cleared out every piece they ever touched. The walls were bare now, clean, empty. Like I was scrubbing the last of them out of the place. You emptied the house. Mom stepped forward, looking around like she didn't recognize it. Correction, I replied. My house. Brian's hands balled into fists. We lived here. For years. Yeah, I said, and never once paid rent. Never chipped in. Never showed an ounce of respect. Mom's face twisted up in disgust. We're your family. This is vile. One mistake and you're throwing us out, she added. I let out a short laugh. One mistake. You hijacked my trip. Spent my money. Booted me from my own plans because I didn't fit your idea of fun. I looked at all of them. Do you even hear yourselves? You're being petty, Sienna chimed in, rolling her eyes like a teenager. You're just mad because we actually had a good time without you. That's when I stepped outside completely and shut the door behind me. You think this is about Japan? I asked, quieter now. You honestly think this is just about one vacation? I shook my head. It's about every time I bent over backwards for you. Every dollar I handed over. Every night you crashed here rent-free while you laughed behind my back. We didn't do that, Mom started. You did, I cut her off. All of you. And I'm done. Brian stared at me like I'd grown horns. So what, we're homeless now? No, I said. You've got 2 weeks. Rent's tripled. Utilities are yours now. The guest suite? Locked. If you want to stay here, you pay like everyone else. He scoffed hard. You're not serious. You can't evict us, Sienna said, arms crossed. Actually, I said, pulling the lease paperwork from my coat pocket, I can. It's legal. Already done. Oh, and those credit cards? Yeah, they were declined this morning at the coffee shop. Got the alert myself. Silence. Heavy and thick. Like someone had dropped a cinder block between us. I turned to head back inside when Brian grabbed my arm. Wait, please, he said, his voice cracking. You don't understand. I don't have anywhere to go. Sienna thought maybe the trip would help us reconnect as a family. She didn't mean to hurt you. Sienna opened her mouth, probably to defend herself, but stopped short. Brian's eyes welled up. He was crying. I looked at him, really looked at him, and felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. No sympathy. Just this cold, clear emptiness. You were my brother, I said. And you sold me out so the group could have more fun. That's not family. That's a cheap reality show. Then I turned, walked inside, and locked the door behind me. Left them standing there in the cold wind, with nothing but their suitcases and each other. They came back to a whole different world. One where I didn't play the role of the silent provider anymore. It took 3 days for the real fallout to begin. The first morning, it was weirdly quiet. Too quiet. No guilt-tripping texts. No voice messages. Not even a single post in the family group chat. I ate breakfast alone, coffee, a warm croissant, and for the first time in forever, I felt peace. Not silence like you hear in the room. Silence that sits inside you. Like still water. But by day 4, my phone finally lit up. Can we talk? Mom. I'm sorry about everything. We all made mistakes. Please don't do this to your father. I didn't reply. Not because I didn't have words, I had plenty, but because I didn't owe them anything anymore. For the first time ever, I didn't feel obligated to explain myself to people who never actually listened in the first place. Then the chain reaction really started. Cards. Blocked. Sienna tried to buy a coffee downtown, declined. Twice. I got the push notification and smiled to myself. She posted a passive-aggressive story, some people are just vindictive. Then yanked it down 5 minutes later. And then the rent hit. A week into the new lease, which was triple what they used to pay, I got an email. Hi, we're struggling with the new rent. Could we discuss alternatives? No name. Just, family account. I ignored it. Then came the job hustle. Brian, the same guy who spent years lounging on my couch with zero responsibilities, suddenly started picking up part-time work. A buddy from the gym told me Brian was folding towels at the front desk now. Did I feel sorry for him? Not even a little. By then, I had moved into a small loft downtown. Concrete floors. Big windows. Minimalist layout. No family clutter. No shoes by the door that weren't mine. No mystery leftovers in the fridge. I woke up at 7 a.m., hit the gym, worked from home, and took walks in the evening. For the first time in what felt like forever, every second of my life, every dollar I spent, every breath I took, was finally mine. No more texts asking me to help out with groceries. No more guilt-drenched calls about, just a little help until payday. No more of mom's voice saying, but it's your brother, how can you say no? Just silence. Pure, unbothered silence. During the second week, Brian finally reached out. I know I messed up, he wrote. I really do. Cece left. Said she didn't sign up for this. I get it now. You were right. I stared at the screen for a while. This was the same Brian who used to laugh at me when I talked about building a future. Said I was uptight. That I didn't know how to relax. That I was boring. And now? Now he was alone. Abandoned by the fun girlfriend who apparently didn't sign up for struggle. And he had no one left to lean on, no more walking ATM to bail him out. I didn't reply. Then the real grenade landed. A letter from a lawyer. Apparently, my parents were trying to claim part ownership of my house. My lawyer walked me through it calmly. They're claiming they made financial contributions over the years, he said. We've asked them for proof. So far, they've got nothing. I couldn't help but laugh. Not because it was funny. But because it was so ridiculous, it barely warranted anything more than disbelief. This was classic them. In their minds, if I owned it, they somehow had rights to it. I remembered one of my mom's favorite sayings. This is a family home, sweetheart. What's yours is ours. But now, ours didn't mean anything anymore. She sent another message not long after. We didn't raise you to be like this. What would your father think? This time, I answered. You raised me to serve you. That's over now. And what surprised me most wasn't their outrage. It was how quickly they fell apart without me. Brian, who never worked more than a few hours a week, was suddenly pulling 10-hour shifts trying to keep the lights on. Mom started calling old friends, the same ones she used to mock for having selfish kids who didn't help out. And Dad? He stayed silent. Like always. That man had front row seats to every fight, every insult, every manipulative stunt, and he never once spoke up. His loyalty was to staying neutral. And now? Now they were stuck in the exact world they built. One where I no longer existed to clean up their mess. As for me, I sat in my new apartment, on a couch I picked out, drinking coffee no one criticized, in a space untouched by guilt or obligation. For the first time ever, I wasn't being used. I wasn't someone's crutch. I wasn't someone's plan B. And I wasn't angry anymore. I was free. I wasn't the issue. I was the solution they drained dry. And sometimes, silence screams louder than all the yelling in the world. It's been 3 months since I finally cut the cord. No more free housing. No more brotherly help. No more pretending that family automatically means love. At first, I thought maybe I'd feel guilty. Or sad. Or even lonely. But I didn't. What I felt was something stronger. Peace. I wake up now without a pit in my stomach. No dread. No weight of waiting for the next guilt trip masked as a favor. My phone buzzes, and I don't flinch. No mental bracing for emotional manipulation. It's like I stepped out of a thick fog. And for the first time, I can breathe. Last week, while unpacking a box at the new place, I found an old folder labeled family stuff. Inside were birthday cards, old vacation photos, receipts, and airline tickets. I flipped through it slowly. Every hotel booking. Under my name. Every vacation. Paid with my card. It hit me hard. Every family memory had my name behind it. My bank account. My sacrifice. They used to say I was cold. But I was the one keeping the heat on. In every photo, I was the one smiling, driving, paying, giving. And everyone else? Relaxed. Carefree. Like they were riding shotgun in a car they never had to steer. I used to think that meant I was strong. Now I realize. It just made me invisible. They didn't love me. They loved what I did for them. And once I stopped doing it, the love stopped too. Brian hasn't texted since Sienna left. Someone at the gym mentioned he moved into a basement apartment and started delivering food. And honestly, I didn't feel smug about it. I didn't feel anything at all. Because now, his problems are his to carry. Not mine. Sienna wiped her social media clean. Deleted our old photos. Unfollowed the whole family. I guess the fun ran out when the freebies did. And Mom? She sent one final text. We didn't raise you to be like this. We miss who you used to be. And I answered. You miss the version of me who never said no. He's gone. Dad? He stayed silent. Of course he did. That was always his specialty. Years of watching things fall apart, and he just sat there, sipping his coffee in silence. He never raised his voice. Never lifted a hand. He just watched. And honestly, that hurt more. His silence made the betrayal feel polite. But it was just as destructive. Maybe even more. Eventually, I stopped waiting for closure from any of them. So I gave it to myself. One evening, I sat alone in my apartment, no TV, no music, no phone buzzing with demands. Just me, a glass of wine, and the soft glow of city lights flickering on in the buildings across the way. And for once, the silence didn't feel lonely. It felt like peace. Like something I'd earned the hard way. That night, I wrote something on a sticky note and pressed it to my bathroom mirror. I owe no one more than I owe myself. Since then, I've read it every morning, like a quiet reminder, almost like a prayer. Funny thing is, the same people who drained the life out of me now call me distant. Say I've changed. Damn right, I have. I used to be the bridge they walked all over. Now, I'm the ocean they can't cross. A few days ago, I got a message from Brian's ex, Erica. We barely talked when she and Brian were together, but she was always decent. Soft-spoken. Observant. She wrote. You were the only one who saw it. The way they treated you, it wasn't right. I'm glad you walked away. You saved yourself. And I'll be honest, that hit me harder than I expected. Because after everything, a part of me had started to wonder if maybe I was the problem. Erica reminded me I wasn't crazy. I was just the first one who woke up. I used to think walking away made me selfish. Now I know better, it was survival. It was me choosing to live. They taught me that love always came with sacrifice. But the sacrifice was always mine, never theirs. They called me cruel. I call it clarity. They called me heartless. I call it healing. They called me selfish. But only after I stopped letting them take everything I had. And the best part? I don't hate them. I don't wish them suffering. I just finally understand. I don't owe them a damn thing. And that kind of freedom. It feels like I can finally breathe. Next week, I'm heading to Iceland. Just me. Solo trip. I've always wanted to see the Northern Lights. But I never went. There was always someone else's fire to put out. Someone else's drama. Someone else's dream vacation that I was quietly paying for. Not this time. This time, it's for me. And when I'm standing under that frozen sky, beneath those wild green lights, thousands of miles from everything I used to carry, I'm going to say it out loud. I'm not your safety net. I'm not your backup plan. I'm not your ATM, your fallback, or your fool. I'm me. And for the first time in my entire life. That's more than enough.